Hello, ladies and gentlemen, nerds and nerdettes. How you doing? I want to go ahead and welcome you back to
Perils of the Warp.
this is episode 26, and we are actually doing it on time in accordance to the last episode.
Yeah,
So, new year, new us.
maybe.
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. This is only
Yeah.
the second time we're doing it,
Exactly.
but I feel like it's gonna get. I'm John.
I'm Roman. You're a terrible host.
Whatever.
I'll continue. Go ahead and tell the people.
I feel like we got our shit together this time around.
Yeah. I think we do. I mean, I think the most important thing about this is that I have to keep telling you, hey, we have to record. Hey, we have to record. I have to keep reminding you. Because you're very bad. You're very forgetful when it comes to...
Anything.
Yeah.
Literally anything.
Anything that's not like Warhammer. Because you tend to like hold on to like obscure stats. And I'm like, why do you care about this one little thing? He's like, no, I'm pretty sure he fucking, because this rule hits on choose now. Like, okay.
It's not just with Warhammer. I mean, there's a lot of fucking useless information in my head that I, know. Like, if I fucking researched it in the fucking Library of Alexandria, fucking shit about Scottish fucking folklore that I know rambling around my head. It's fucking... I know... This, I don't know why this random fact just popped into my head. Not a lot of people know this, but in kindergarten in Russia, they have all the kids dressed down into their underwear, and they go outside and play in the snow. Mm-hmm. And everybody thinks that like Russian anatomy, or it's like a popular, belief that Russian anatomy is just different, like evolved to handle the cold. Okay. It's like no, they just fucking they literally swim in snow from the age of kindergarten. And then they go inside and they have a sauna and a hot tea. Mm-hmm. And they do it every day. So that when they get older, they can drink vodka and go out in the snow in their underwear. And fucking Germans are like, these guys are fucking crazy.
Well, I mean, a lot of people think, and I think a lot of Americans tend to think of like Russians as like, what are you doing? You're going to get sick. But being out in the cold doesn't cause you to be sick. It's a virus. You know, it's something that invades your body, mm-hmm. and that's what gives you a cold or flu or anything else. But I mean, if you're out in the cold, you're just out in the cold. You're not gonna. I mean, if it's really cold and you're out there for long periods of time, I'm sure you'll fucking freeze, or you'll be uncomfortable. But I mean, as far as that, it doesn't matter. But I get it. I hold on to those stupid facts as well, but. I kind of tend to look more for bigger picture stuff, and that's why I say, like, before we do anything, John, before we go out and, have some hookah or, go out and eat or something, we have to make sure that we do this. Like, this is the one thing, like, the one thing on our agenda that has to be done, and that's Perils of the Warp. Like, we have to do Perils of the Warp because doing the last issue kind of reinvigorated me with a lot of passion for Warhammer that I thought I had lost. Like, you saw me last year. I was kind of like, fucking whatever. It doesn't matter. I didn't care. But now, I guess we'll just go into hobby progress. And I'll start off. I have made tremendous amounts of progress on John's army. His Zangor, Zinch kind of bullshit.
Fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji. 100%, 100%, 100%.
I don't know what any of that means, but
that means it's on fleek.
The thing is, in 11 days, I was able to shit out 40 fully painted Zangors. Are they the best of what I could do? No. Do they have some cleaning up that I have to do? Yes. Like that, I look at it and I see gold where it's not supposed to be. I see, some colors bled into other things. I have to wash some of those things, but as far as a tabletop standard, they are done. Like, I can leave them like that, but because John is going to show them off, I'm assuming a little bit, I want to kind of put a little bit of a better foot forward. So when it comes to his Zangors, in 11 days I shit out 40 Zangors. That's all I've been doing. Like, usually, I get home from work and I go ahead and play Destiny or play just a video game in general. And that's how I unwind from the day. What I've been doing and what I've been honestly really liking is just go ahead and put on a YouTube video and just painting. Like, look, I gotta do this color tonight and this is my cutoff. I usually get home around midnight because of work, and I eat and then I get straight to work. So I have about an hour and a half, solid hour and a half of painting. And that whole hour a day, hobby progress type thing really does work. Like, now looking at it, I've been doing that. So much so that when I wake up, I usually wake up 9 or 10 region. I kind of have different days, different times to wake up. But for the most part, I usually wake up those days and I grab a cup of coffee and I have a cup of coffee and I'm painting. So in 11 days, I was able to do that because of that. But that's the majority of my stuff. I've also been working, because now that I've gotten rid of Zangors, I'm now working on your Enlightened or your Skyfires. They're basically on disc, and there's so many just small breakable parts on those models that I refuse to take them to work with me, because usually at work, I'm one of the lucky few people that I'm a truck driver. I deliver for a living, so I have to wait for my orders to be done in order for me to continue my job. So when I clock in, I do have like an hour of downtime, where that's where I would spend doing another hour of painting Zangors. But because of these guys on disc, and especially like the Skyfires with their bows and their arrows, are super, super breakable. So John, get yourself a good high quality, foam tray, and make sure that you protect those guys.
Actually, taking that in mind, I was already thinking about it. I think with them, I'm going to Magna rack them. That way, they're not brushed up against anything at all.
That's a very good idea. But yeah, I've been working on that. On the side, I've been working on painting up a drop pod for my Dark Angels, because of one of the Red Star members and a friend, Will. Will was selling some stuff, and just by chance I was at a thing at Grimdark, and he said, "Do you still need them?" And I was like, "Sure." So got 2 of them for $20, and he was just trying to get rid of them, I'm assuming. And
everybody wants to get rid of their drop pods.
And I'm kind of on a mission to like make them work, not necessarily be like they're fucking tournament, quality pieces that no one's using. I understand from a competitive standpoint that drop pods are not worth it, but I think that they have a different use, and that's something I've been talking to John about, and maybe we'll bring up later. So I'm painting up that drop pod. I'm also finishing up some bases for some of my Dark Angels attack marines, the regular attack marines, because they've just been sitting on cork, and I kind of want to. The way I have my Dark Angels is they're kind of just like on these rubble pieces that I paint up the cork like rubble, and they have like they're on top of mud and grass and kind of stuff like that. So that's something I've been doing as well. But a new development. I want to get my Seraphon up and running. So I've been putting together, just assembling some Saurus Guard, and that'll lead me into something else that I want to talk to you about. Something else I want to talk about it later. But that's it for my hobby progress. What about you, John?
Well, currently I am trying to build my third and final Plague Burst Crawler so that you can prime them for me.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing just right now. But other than that, I am painting my characters for my Catachan.
Okay.
For the big game that we've been talking about.
Yes.
So I was painting Strachan, 2 Tech Priest, and 3 psychers, and then I saw this video where Duncan did a quick and easy Catachan tank. He used air cans,
Uh-huh.
and he sprayed the tank Xandri dust and then covered it with sticky tack for the camo,
Uh-huh.
and then sprayed it in Dark Angel green or Strachan green, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And when you peel off the sticky tack, the fucking what it was covering is still there under the Xandri dust, so it looks like it's camo shaded. The problem is that I pressed way too hard on the sticky tack, having never used the product before. I didn't realize how sticky tack was. So I kind of messed up a tank. I need to go in there with some toothpicks, see if I can get it off. If not, I'm just gonna have to dump the damn thing in LA Awesome.
Yeah.
And start over from scratch on that one.
Yeah. And it's part of the process. Of
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Let's see, what else? Oh, I was painting my Zinch demons.
Oh, okay.
So I was working on the Screamers and the Flamers, which is they're based the Army Painter Ultramarine Blue, I think it's called.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm washing them in different washes. Caribou Crimson, Druichi Violet, and Drakenhof Nightshade, I think it is. Drakenhof Nightshade?
Yeah,
I don't
blue
know.
shade.
Yeah. Just trying to get them like different shades, you know, because that's the way Screamers and that's the way anything Zinch is. It's like it's blue but with undertones of pink and flame and stuff like that. So, so I've been working on that because I did say that I wanted to have my demons ready by the time you had the Zangors ready, so that I could have the Zinch army ready for Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
Turns out Zangors are expensive, so the army's predominantly going to be Zangors, but the way I built my list, the list I want to try out, I should be able to be dropping in demons from summoning by turn 2 easily.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I was like, I want to get my Seraphon up and running, and I kind of thought like, well, I was at a local comic shop to just sell Warhammer stuff, so I can pick up what we're gonna mainly talk about in a bit. But I also saw that they had a little bit of Seraphon stuff, and I was like, the Saurus Guard, and I was like, I already have 30 of those. Like, I'm good on those. Then I saw the Knights, which are the ones riding dinosaurs, dinos riding dinos, and I was like, those are awesome, but they're still a battle line, and they're very, very cheap. They're like 90 points or something like that for a 5-man, which is great, but I don't need any more battle line. I need other things that are going to fill out that army. But I saw a Bastillodon. I was like, ooh, it's perfect. But it was just a little bit more than what I wanted to spend today. So I was just like, well, I guess Bastillodon will wait. That's another bigger piece that I'll wait. And it's not expensive. It's $60, but it's just a little out of my price range at the moment.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to save some money for some other stuff. But I saw like $35 was the 24 pack of skinks, and I was like, well, me having 1,000-point little army, but supplementing it with some summoning from summoning some skinks, that would be pretty cool. I think I could probably do that. One of the things that I was looking into was some of the rules for summoning for Seraphon, and I'm trying to figure out like, fuck, okay. I think, and I had to double check this, because you got me the Salon Star Master, which is awesome. But his big thing is he can use 3 spells and then dispel 3, right? So I was thinking, since he has 3 spells that he can cast, and then the way that they use summoning points is the Celestial Conjuration, I believe is what it's called. You can not summon a spell. You can announce you are not summoning a spell and gain 3 of them. Right? But I was thinking, well, that's for 1 spell. Because normally wizards can only cast 1 spell. He can cast 3. Which means I think I can get 9. If I'm not mistaken. Like, if I'm not missing something, I believe he can go ahead and get 9 points. Even 6. Like since he can use 3 spells and summoning is technically a spell, I can not use 2. That's 6 points already, and that's enough for a 5-man skink thing. So first turn I can just already put like little 5-man skinks as little blocking units or whatever I need, as little chaff units, as little little things like that. So I'm thinking I can probably do that. But the reason I didn't buy the skinks is just like all of my Seraphon stuff is not painted. So I need to at least start painting them before I add a skinks. Because skinks are small. They'll be super simple. A little Zenithal gray scale. And a little bit of blue on them. Dry brush a little more before on the grayscale. Throw a little blue. Add the little differentiators. They're good to go. I don't have to worry about them too much. So that's just something that I was thinking of. But is there anything else that you were working on?
Anything else? No, that's what I've been working on. I have a list of things that I need to work on that I have like, in the immediate area that are like next on the table.
Yeah.
I need to finish painting my heavy weapon squads for my Renegade Guard.
Mm-hmm.
I have those in separate pieces because the little kneeling guys are too close to the Modars to be able to paint it all.
Yeah.
And I want to play with them. I would have played with them tomorrow at our Vigilus game. That's going down at Grimdark. 1,000 points. I can get a lot of fucking Renegade Guard in 1,000 points.
Yeah.
But most of them are just like sitting on whatchamacallem? When you drill the hole in the butt and you put them on the paperclip.
Oh, okay.
They're sitting on paper clips.
Yeah, they're just
ready to be painted.
Yeah.
Primed and everything. I just need to paint them.
Oh, okay.
And then my
there's some green on those bad boys. Some striking green.
My knight for my my Chaos Knight. Like all the big panels and stuff is done. All the metals are done. I just need little things like I always need little things, wires and eyes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Detail.
Yeah, and then I'm covering the damn thing in Wardbearer
script.
The decals, the Wardbearer scripts from Betrayal of Calth. Yeah,
I got more of those if you want them.
I would love more of those.
All right,
I'm fucking that bitch up with script.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all you.
I need to finish off my Nurgle Demons list.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I got too much stuff. This year, I'm gonna buy less, paint more. Like that's
yes. That is a motto that we should all live by. And it's one that I've been taking into the new year, and that's what stopped me from buying those skinks today. Because last year I've been like, fuck it, buy the skinks, but I haven't even assembled my Saurus Guard. You know what I mean? A core unit to the army I haven't even fucking done. So yeah, for sure, it's more about painting than buying this year. But speaking of more and less, we want to play more games. Have you played any games since the last time we've gathered to record? I know I haven't.
I haven't.
Okay, so we're gonna get our games in. When you listen to this, we would already be playing a little campaign event. But yeah, we'll soon get into more games played once we actually do that. But since we're kind of talking about Vigilus and all this kind of stuff, we should maybe get into some of the stuff that's been released in the last week and things that are coming up. Speaking of Vigilus and all that kind of stuff, Urban Conquest, which is like it's a campaign expansion. They're comparing it more to City Fights. If you played 7th edition City Fights, which is like almost like a smaller point skirmish and the thing is you're just in a city. Certain cities have certain rules that you follow, so they're just campaign missions basically. A lot of people are like, oh, you can get these cool little ruined pieces. Those ruined pieces are going to come out separately in a couple of months. But if you're a big campaign player, that's where you should go because it's a fairly small box. But other than that, I'd say just kind of shy away from that if you're not gonna do like run events, things of that nature. Just I would say it's not worth it, but that's just me because I don't plan many events and things like that. So for me, not worth it. But one of the interesting thing was that they have a new terrain set. I don't know if you saw this.
Saw it, yeah.
Yeah, the Sector Imperialis Minifactorum, and it's $60. It really makes like one big piece. Might have a couple of extras, but it's really based off of the Kill Teams stuff. It's that same sort of style, but just Minifactorum. It's a little more mechanicus than Gothic. So. It looks pretty cool for $60. It's something to add to the board that we're trying to make.
I do want to get it just because our board has both the Gothic Cathedral and the Mechanicum stuff, and I think if you put it right in the middle, it'll bleed from one to the other pretty well.
Yeah, so probably something we'll buy in the future. But other than that, there's been a fuckload of things that came out for AOS. Because as we know, the Gloom Spike Gits have come out. So there's a lot of stuff. They have the battle tones, they have their cards, they have these fucking grot dice that everybody's going apeshit for.
Oh my god, they are so awesome. They look like fucking the Monster Book of Monsters, but in dice form.
I mean, that's okay. I don't see the big deal, but I'm not a specialty dice guy. Even for fucking Dark Angels, I'm like, I don't need those. Just
I have fucking 4 boxes of the Death Card dice.
Fucking terrible. Fucking roly-poly bouncy dice. But yeah. Scraggrot, the Loon King. He's out. He's 35. You can get new Fanatics if you want new Fanatics models for $40. Squig Hoppers for $50. Squig Herd for $45. The endless spells are $35, and it actually comes with 4 endless spells rather than the 3 that you're normally getting. So that's pretty cool. What else? They had the Troggoths, the big ass trolls.
The rock trolls.
Yeah, the rock trolls, which I believe are multi-part kits. They can make different ones, whichever one you prefer. A regular Loon Boss, not the named character Loon Boss, but just one by itself. Sneaky Snufflers. They're basically sniffing squigs, and I don't know what any of this does because I'm not a big Git fan unless it's Spider-Fang. There's the Gobapalooza, the Rotgut Troggoths, which we talked about. The Bad Moon Loon Shrine, which everybody is going apeshit for because that is like, apparently it's a very, very good piece, very useful. The Loon Shrine, which is a terrain piece. Then you have your Dank Hole Troggoths, which are the huge ones. It could also make a Trog Boss. And the ones that I think are probably the best are the Mangler Squids. They're the gigantic ones, the 2 fucking ones that are like running over each other.
Yeah, they're fucking expensive.
They are very expensive. They're $80 for just one little thing. But yeah, they even have, if you go to the GW website, which I don't know anybody that actually buys stuff from the GW website. Like, that's where they get their stuff.
Yeah, no.
It's $32 for all the new releases. You can get a Squigalanch for $400. Of course, the Spider-Fang stock tribe is out. But it's reasonable price. It's $383. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah.
Yeah, and then aside from all the stuff Roman just mentioned, which came out for the army, you can also play the Troggoths that have already been out, like the Swamp Troggoths. All the Spider-Fangs fit into this tome.
Yes.
The Malign Portents Mushroom Goblin thing.
Yes.
So you don't have to go fucking $500 for these new models. If you have Gargant, Elgazor Gargants, if you have any of these models, you already have like the start to your army.
Yeah, exactly.
And just build up slowly.
And Fanatics were a thing before this book, so if you already have Fanatics, or if you can find, used Fanatics, go ahead and get that. Just because it doesn't make a difference unless you're really wanting, unless you love the new sculpts and you have to get them, or you have an aversion to working with metal, because those models are old. But yeah, those are the new releases. I'm sure there's gonna be more that are coming out for that. One of the big rumors is that Gene Stealer Cults, by the end of this month, will most likely have their codex for pre-order. It'll probably be out for pre-order probably on the 20... Is it the 26th? Is that the Saturday? Alright, on the money. On the 26th, I think it's rumored that they're going to have their pre-order, and they'll probably have it the following Saturday, which is February 3rd or something like that.
Nice.
So anybody that's into that, very cool.
I think that Gene Stealers is something I could pick up later down the road. Just because I can just play on my Catachan tanks with them, so I wouldn't need too many models.
Yeah.
And it's cool, the whole Gene Stealer thing. It's awesome.
The lore, yeah.
Yeah. Right. But what I really want are the bikers, because I want to just use Catachan bodies for them, and make Rough Riders for my Catachan. Yeah. I know it's gonna be an expensive fucking thing because I'm gonna need 5 bikes plus the box of Catachan guys. But I really want it.
Fair enough. So. You are into converting.
Yeah.
Me less so, but one of the things I wanted to talk about before we get into our main topic, is I've been fucking chomping at the bit for old school fantasy. I've been putting out on Red Star, and I've been looking at other groups for old school fantasies types. I don't know why I want to play that so badly.
Red Star Gaming, by the way, for any listeners not in San Antonio.
Oh, yes.
Is San Antonio's Warhammer group.
Yeah, it's not only San Antonio. They do have different chapters in different cities. I more of a Texas thing, because they do have a chapter in Dallas as well as like Corpus Christi. So it's little surrounding areas.
San Antonio.
But yeah, we're in San Antonio, so we tend to just stick there. But I've been putting out there, like, how does everybody feel about maybe 8th edition? Everybody's giving me shit. No, I'm kidding. I just think there's a lot of people that are kind of baffled by me wanting to play, because Age of Sigmar is so streamlined and so good. And I'm not saying that I'm like, fuck Age of Sigmar, I don't want to play it. I love Age of Sigmar and want to play more of it than any other fucking game.
Yeah, but for those of you, who don't know Roman, when we got into 40K, the entire time we were taking the plunge and getting into this hobby, he was just bitching that he wanted to play fantasy.
Yes.
And right around the time where we were set in the armies we have for 40K, and we could start, playing fantasy, Age of Sigmar dropped, and
yeah, it was one of those big, like, fuck, I missed the boat, just because, I arguably got into Warhammer at a bad time, just in general. I know 40K wasn't doing great when we dropped in. It was maybe 6 months after 7th edition dropped, because everybody was like, fucking 6th edition's a fucking shit show, we gotta fucking fix that. And then 7th edition came out. I think we were maybe a few months off from 7th edition. But around that time is when I believe they started to do the end times, or even they were leading up into it. And I thought End Times was going to be this fucking awesome campaign. I was like, fucking, the End Times is nigh. I was fucking hell yeah. Because I'm a fantasy guy. I love fantasy more than I ever will sci-fi. So I was like, oh man, the rank and flank, the movement bases, and then just being in lines, kind of medieval style combat. Or the fantasy style combat that you always see in movies. It's not just this fucking war lean melee. It's just kind of this marching, dudes and just poking with sticks and shit. And I love that. And that's like the one thing that I wish kind of Age of Sigmar had. Just because, but then I kind of think like, well, Age of Sigmar is its own thing. Like I can still play 8th edition, but not a lot of people are playing 8th edition in town. But I am just still so enamored with it that I love it so much. I want to play it, even though everybody is saying like you're gonna fucking hate it, blah blah blah. I still want to try it out. So I was thinking like, oh, I'll just start a new army and get like some square bases from a third party that's doing that now that GW doesn't make square bases. And then talking to a friend, our friend Trent, and he's like, hey, prefacing everything that he's saying with, I'm not trying to hate on what you're trying to do. I'm not shitting on your dreams, but kind of talking me through, because my initial thing was I'm gonna have like just an 8th edition army. That's it. Like no ifs, ands, or buts. And I'd always wanted to start a Chaos Warriors army because I just like the Chaos Warriors, with their shields and halberds and stuff like that. And then he was like, maybe you should try, maybe you should put them on round bases and maybe get some movement trays. And then I was like, nah. I was reticent to even hear his idea, but then I kind of thought about it. I was like, yeah, he's making a lot of sense. So I just figure my my Seraphon is going to be my 8th edition army too. I'll just find the Lizardman booklet somewhere, because I have the rule book for Old School Fantasy for 8th edition, because it was about 2 years ago maybe. One of our local comic shops, who also sells Warhammer, had the books because Age of Sigmar was the new hotness. Everyone's buying that up. They just want to get rid of fantasy. And I was like, oh shit, this big ass rule book that's usually $80 is 75% off. I have to get this. So I just scooped that up for $25, $20, and I have it. I've been reading through it. So I'll probably go into 8th edition. So if anybody does hear this, in the San Antonio area, doesn't mind doing some 8th ed fantasy, or is open to teaching me how to play, get in contact with us. You can go ahead and send us an email at citypod88@gmail.com. Just put Warhammer, just so we know it's for this show or something I can read here. And if you're on YouTube, go ahead and comment on this video below, but at youtube.com/grimworks. But yeah, that's what I've been obsessed with. That's usually what I'm putting on. I'm putting old school bat reps for Old School Fantasy while I'm painting your fucking asshole discs. Those discs are so fucking horrible. If you don't know, you should know. If you don't know, paint the discs separately. Like, paint everything separately. Paint the figure. If you want to put the figure together, that's fine. The figure together is one piece. The disc itself is one piece. And then the bottom where it connects, that's one piece. You're gonna, if you haven't thought about it, go ahead and do that. Just, it's so fucking difficult to get through all this shit. But on a happier note, our main topic is gonna be White Dwarf. Specifically, 2 parts of White Dwarf that we found super interesting because they're things that we've been wanting to get into.
Before we get into the main meat and potatoes.
Okay, you have something else?
Yeah. Actually, still concerning White Dwarf, but this is White Dwarf December.
Okay.
White Dwarf December came with some stuff. One of which was the Chaos Gargant card for what do you call this game?
No,
it's not Shadespire.
It's Warhammer Underworlds.
Warhammer Underworlds, which it's actually not a bad game. I do enjoy it. Roman really fucking enjoys it. Mm-hmm. But I was really happy that this came out because I have a Gargant just sitting there.
Give it to me and I'll paint it up.
So,
'cause I'm painting up all the shades, all the Underworld stuff for us.
So you got rules to play with a Chaos Gargant, and the White Dwarf itself comes with missions, with a couple of missions you can use. The Gargant is a standalone character. Mm-hmm. You just got one Gargant against whoever else wants to fucking,
Yeah, it's basically like a Chaos versus where the fuck else.
Yeah.
It's just basically it's its own piece. Somebody's controlling that one piece. Everybody's just trying to kill it.
Yeah.
So it's more like a raid, more than anything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But I mean, I want to try it out. So.
Yeah.
But also, there's been a lot of talk about Black Legion and Vigilus, and Harken. But on some of the artwork that was released for Harken when the model came out, you could see a power claw in the background. And everybody, Will Anson pointed it out to us on Red Star, and he's like, "GW, you snaky bastard." As obviously it looks like the Talon of Horus.
Yeah.
But it's in a different position than the Talon of Horus is on the old ass fucking model. And there's been a lot of rumors about Abaddon being remade into plastic.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to turn everybody's attention to is page 10 of December's White Dwarf. The Planet Warhammer, whatever the fuck this is, the title of the thing is The Hostilities. And there's a character named Obsidious Malix of the Black Legion. And he is wearing Terminator armor. He has a fucking huge top knot. He is what I'm guessing.
Abaddon is gonna be.
Yeah, Abaddon's gonna look like. I mean,
okay. If you don't know, this is the. It's Obsidious Malice of the Black Legion. He is from the
Blackstone Fortress.
Blackstone Fortress.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is where you're gonna get that, and yeah, of course you see the Chaos Space Marine model. So remodels coming up soon.
But I mean that's a great looking model. He's a cool looking dude. Yep. He's got the big top knot. I think we're seeing.
He's knocking the bottom out.
I think you're seeing a lot of what Abaddon may look like when he comes out. All this extra stuff on the armor, the top knot itself not being so fucking terrible as Abaddon's original top knot.
I don't know why everybody fucking hates on that top
because
knot.
It's 3 feet tall.
So? This is fucking Warhammer 40,000. You literally have guns that are gravity. They just fucking pound you with the gravity. You're like, ugh.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Every time he moves his head.
Nothing makes sense in 40K.
Something's got to make sense.
I mean, it doesn't make sense because he's in fucking Terminator armor. Alright? There's just... Stop trying to apply logic to something that's illogical.
But anyways, good looking model. I think... if you look at him, you can see a lot of what to expect from Abaddon when he does come out. And so yeah, that's what I want to say.
All right, fair enough.
Maybe talk about the main stuff.
We'll get into January's 2019 White Dwarf. I gotta say, this is a step up. I like the size of the Warhammer books or the White Dwarfs now. Because for a while they were like really small and kind of shitty, and honestly didn't like them. But since we're on the, we're talking about 40K, you might as well address this. Now, apparently this has been a thing for a while. If you had been playing Warhammer, we're not as in tune with a lot of the older Warhammer since we joined in so late, or 7th edition kind of stuff. The Index Astartes was a thing in White Dwarf before, I think they've said like in 4th edition or 5th edition it had been a thing. But basically what they're doing is they are putting rules for, at least in this particular thing, is successor chapters. I think it's really cool. Mm-hmm. I think I like the idea of like supplementing them just enough so that you can. I doubt you're gonna make a full army of Crimson Fist, which is what this is. But you at least have enough to like make a small detachment with your Imperial Fist, or you can use your Imperial Fist rules and have some Crimson Fist that maybe have a bit to do in there. But we're gonna get right into it. Before this, there is some fiction. There is like a little short story that you can read with the Crimson Fist in it, but we're going to get right into this. The chapter master is Master Petro Cantor, if you don't know that, but the rules.
Vote for Pedro.
I don't know about that. But yeah, I guess we're going to start off with abilities. If your army is Battleforged, troops, units, and a Crimson Fist detachment gain the Defenders of Humanity ability. In addition, infantry, biker, and dreadnought units, other than servitor units, in Crimson Fist detachments, also gain the No Matter the Odds ability. Now, you're asking what are those two abilities? I'm going to let you know. Defenders of Humanity. A unit with this ability has the written range of that is within range of an objective marker as specified in the mission. Controls the objective marker even if there are more enemy models within range of the objective marker. If an enemy unit within range of the same objective marker has a similar ability, and the objective marker is controlled by the most models. So basically, it's OBSEC. It's just you control that no matter what, unless they have the same ability. Then you take into account that many models. So all right, that's pretty good. They can hold down the fort, especially with Primaris having 2 wounds each. You put a little 5-man on there. It's 10 wounds that somebody has to choose.
Or even just a single dreadnought.
Or just a single dreadnought, it's true. But then there is No Matter the Odds. Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by this unit that target an enemy unit that contains at least twice as many models as their own. For the purposes of this ability, Crimson Fist dreadnought units from this army count as 5 other models. So you can't just have one fucking dreadnought and be like, there's fucking 6 of you, let me fucking punch the shit out of you, like right off the bat. Now I'm hitting on 2s. Like, it's not that. It counts as 5, which is cool because that adds a little more to it there. But it also has a designer note. If you are unsure of your own chapter's founding chapter, and you feel the rules presented there reflect its character and fighting style better, then choose from the Codex Space Marines. You can choose to use the rules in this article instead of those in the Codex Space Marines. So, just saying, you have the options now with Crimson Fist. You can go with the Imperial Fist, stuff that they have there, or you can use this specific Crimson Fist, and maybe with some Warlord traits you'll want to know. So these are for Crimson Fist characters. But if your Warlord is Pedro Cantor, he must have the Tenacious Opponent Warlord trait. That's the first one we're going to cover. So Tenacious Opponent. If there is at least 10 enemy models within 6 of this Warlord when he fights in the fight phase, add D3 attacks to his attacks characteristic until the end of the phase. So, again, the Crimson Fists are always outnumbered. They're such a small sect of the Imperial Fists, and Imperial Fists in themselves are a smaller chapter. It kind of takes on we're the best of the best. We're going to fucking outpunch you no matter what. So, that's cool. Then there's the second Warlord trait, Refuse to Die. The first time this Warlord is reduced to 0 wounds, roll a d6. On a 4+, set him up again at the end of the phase, as soon as possible, or as close as possible, to his previous position, and more than 1 inch from any enemy model, with D3 wound remaining. So he basically has the Celestant rule.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I honestly think that's probably the best one out of the Warlord traits. But the last one is Stoic Defender. All friendly Crimson Fist infantry, biker, and dreadnought units have the Defender of Humanity ability whilst they're within 6 of the Warlord. If Crimson Fist units already have this ability, then each model in the unit counts as 2 models for the purposes of determining who controls objective markers while they're within 6 of the Warlord. So if your Warlord's close to that OBSEC unit, it doubles.
Objective secured on steroids.
Yeah, so again, cool. Maybe a little more. How do you say it? A little more situational, but I think out of these, you're always going to want to pick the Refuse to Die.
Yeah,
that's kind of just the one that you're going to use. But they also have some relics. They have the Fist of Vengeance, and it takes over a Crimson Fist with a Power Fist already. It's just a relic Power Fist. It is, of course, melee. It's strength times 2, AP -3 with the straight 3 damage instead of the D3 damage that it would normally have. And then Duty's Burden, which is a bolt rifle, which is specifically a Primaris weapon. So it has to be on a Primaris. Burden has a 36-inch range, rapid fire 2, strength 5, minus 2 AP and 2 damage. So just a bolt rifle on steroids there. They also have some stratagems. All of these stratagems are just 1 CP. So they're kind of meant to be just a smaller type. But the first one is Bolter Drill. Use the stratagem just before Crimson Fist infantry unit attacks in the shooting phase until the end of the phase. Each time you make a hit roll of 6+ for a model from the unit firing a bolt weapon, that model can immediately make another hit roll using the same weapon at the same target. These bonus attacks cannot themselves generate any further, but for the purposes of the stratagem, a bolt's weapon is any weapon profile whose name includes the word bolt. So bolt gun, bolt rifle, heavy bolter, bolt storm gauntlet, Duty's Burden, and Pedro Cantor's Dorn's arrow are also bolt weapons. So basically, you're going to be able to hit a model with 6+, generating more shots, so that's pretty good. I like that one. Hated Foe is the next one. Use this stratagem at the start of the phase. Select one Crimson Fist unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, you can reroll wound rolls for attacks made by that unit when targeting orc units. So, for all those bastard-ass orc players with 30 models. Then the last one is Slay the Tyrant. Use this stratagem at the start of your phase. Select one Crimson Fist unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, add 1 to hit rolls for characters made by that unit when targeting characters. So mainly just a close combat, but kind of covers everything there. More shooty, and then one shooty, one close combat, and one that pays more to be in close combat. So there you go. That is all of the stuff for the Crimson Fist. And then they have some cool things, just explaining the lore and things you do in that. And also a little paint guide, which, if you follow the GW style of painting, is pretty damn cool. But that's pretty much what I wanted to cover, at least on the 40K side. John, I think, is going to carry over into something that I think you've been looking into this a lot more than I have, is the Age of Sigmar skirmish.
Yeah.
So this is an update to that.
Well, I mean, I really like kill teams,
Uh-huh.
you know, and I'm really excited that it's coming to Age of Sigmar.
Sort of.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same thing, but we're gonna go through it.
So basically, just for simple explanation, it is Age of Sigmar kill teams,
Yeah.
basically. The January White Dwarf has a couple of missions. It has
Not a couple. It actually has 6 missions for you.
yeah, couple missions.
So, it's not a couple. It's quite a few. But go ahead.
We have command traits, relics, battle plans.
Yeah, one of the things that I like about this, just in terms of, it only has allegiance abilities, which means that your characters don't have to be from a specific one battle tone.
Yeah.
It's a Grand Alliance, so you have to pick your Grand Alliance: Chaos, Destruction, Death, or Order. And you pick those, and you can use any models. Like for me, because I play 2 Order armies, I can play Seraphon and Stormcast, and I just think that's really cool that they kind of work together. And that's kind of what I've always envisioned them as doing in my head for like my little lore that I built for them. So another thing for me to make up that lore for. But the things that are different is specifically now there is command traits that are, you cannot use any other command traits. They are specific here. I don't know if you want to go over them or just want to just.
No, I don't.
I mean, I think it's something that you have to read through, because there actually is a lot of things. But as far as the command traits go, they have 6 command traits that you can roll a d6 or just choose. These are the command traits that your warlord, well not warlord, but
Champion.
your general.
General, yeah.
Yeah, champion's a different thing. But those are the only ones I can use. An artifact of power is still only one person that can hold a artifact of power,
And you got 6 to choose from.
and you have 6 to choose from. Now it does say that combat abilities and command abilities and command points can be used from the other books. Your battle tome, because there's no way that they were gonna put in that. But it says, oh, actually, I'm sorry, I misread that. It's from the core rules. So in the core rule book, there is command abilities that you can use. It's like the ignore battle shock, those types.
Yeah.
And those are the only ones you can use. I'm sorry, it's not the battle tome. I think that would be a lot more broken.
Yeah, the one I do want to read out just so that people can know.
Yeah.
And because there's not too many of them.
Uh-huh.
Is the allegiance abilities.
Yes.
So for chaos, you got bloody offerings. Roll a dice when a friendly chaos model from your warband is slain within 3 inches of an enemy model, but before it is removed from play. On a 6, that model can make a pile-in move and then attack with all melee weapons it is armed with. Then remove that model from normal.
Nice.
For death, you have deathly vigor. Roll a dice each time you allocate a wound or mortal wound to a friendly death model. On a 6, that wound or mortal wound is negated.
Yeah.
For destruction, what's up, destruction? You have savage killing spree. Roll a dice at the end of the combat phase. On a 5-up, you can pick one friendly destruction model that is within 2 inches of an enemy model. That model can make a pile-in move and then attack with all its melee weapons it is armed with. So my Iron Jaw is going to have some fun with that.
Yep.
And for order, Unwavering Will. You can reroll failed Battle Shock test for this warband.
And that is one thing that we're going to have to go over. Battle Shocks and Skirmish work a lot different, so I'm going to read it directly from the book. Do not use the normal rules for the Battle Shock phase. Instead, in each Battle Shock phase, Battle Shock test must be taken for your whole warband if any models from your warband have been slain during the turn. So, to take the Battle Shock test, roll 1 dice and add the number of models from your warband that were slain that turn. If the modified roll is greater than the General's bravery characteristic, the Battle Shock test has been failed. For each point by which the total exceeds your General's bravery characteristic, one model of your choice from your warband must flee, remove them from play, and count them as having been slain. If your General has been slain, treat your warband as having a bravery characteristic of 5 for the test. So instead of checking the bravery for
Each individual guy.
each individual guy, your general's your strong band. He's gonna take all your battle shock. He's gonna make sure you stay there. If he's slain, if you just fuck up and he's slain, then your characteristic's just 5, and most likely a lot of shit's right off the table.
No summoning.
Yes, that is a big thing. I believe this is why they had to come up with this again, because they did allow summoning at one point with the past rules, and it fucked everything up. Like, summoning is not a great thing to introduce into a small game. The Rebel Battle Rules are a no-no. You do not use Rebel Battle Rules. You don't use Realm of Spells. You don't use Endless Spells. So... one of the things that we do want to talk about is the battle plans. So there's actually 7 skirmish battle plans that they have on here. But the battlefield is a 30 by 40. So it's not a full table, but it's pretty fucking close. But the match play scenarios that they try to do is a limit of 250 renowned. Now, what is renowned? Well, go ahead and explain it, John.
Well... Warhammer Age of Sigmar Skirmish Renown Calculator. So basically, one of the things they put, well, can I just bring Nagash? No, you cannot. Because...
Be a dick.
So, Renown is what you use to... It's your points.
Yes.
So, what you're going to do is pick a unit from which you wish to take a model for your warband. Look up the cost and points in that unit from the most recent version of the General's Handbook. Take the points cost and divide it by the minimum size of the unit to give the cost for a single model. If there is a remainder, ignore the remainder. If you want to make a model a champion, it's plus 5 points.
Well, it's not a remainder. It's you don't ignore it. You just round down.
Ignore it.
Because no, that's a big thing because that can get you an odd or even number, and that affects how much you actually put out on the field. So you don't ignore it. You just round down.
Ignore
You don't ignore it.
it. And then if you want to take a special weapon, you add 5 points.
Yes.
So like for my Iron Jaws, a unit of boys, for 1 in every 5 boys can take a big haka. Now, that does not mean that I can take 5 big hakas in my skirmish list. If I can only take 1 per 5, then if I only have 5 boys in my skirmish list, I can still only take 1 per 5.
Yeah.
So that's it for calculating your renown or points, to make it simple.
Well, there's also the champions. If you want to make it a champion, you can go ahead and
add 5 points.
Add 5 points. So you're adding 5 points for a great weapon of any kind, or 5 points for a champion as well. And then it gives you, little tournament things and kind of things like that. But for the most part, it gives you everything. It gives you all 7 of these that you would want to play. I wouldn't mind trying this out. I'll just paint up a couple of more Seraphon and we can go through that. But yeah, that's what we wanted to talk about. I think White Dwarf is kind of on a
stepping up its game.
Stepping up its game for sure, and I am going to be continually buying it through the year. Now, I don't expect this stuff every time I buy it, but it's a very good start to the year. And even with the index of Stardies, if they give us, I don't know, 3 in
Iron Hands.
Year,
give me Iron Hands, for the love of God. Give me something I can play with. I got nothing.
But Iron Hands... But Iron Hands are a chapter. I don't know if they're going to necessarily...
Yeah, but they can give me, like, stuff. Medusa like they did before. The Sons of Medusa...
Yeah. I'm not... That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that the chapter Stardies is going to be, like, for successor chapters.
Yeah.
It's not going to be... Iron Hands is a chapter already. Like, that you have your rules.
Yeah, but
they're not... They're shitty. I'm not saying they're good.
No, but I'm not saying to give me Iron Hands specifically. I'm saying, like, Sons of Medusa.
Yeah, like a successor chapter.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'll take anything.
But at first it sounded like you were just like, Iron Hands, give me a whole codex in this fucking thing for Iron Hands.
Is that too much to ask for?
Yes, very much so.
All I want is a named character like everybody else gets to have.
I mean, Iron Hands? Okay, this is something I will bring up, and we'll wrap the show after this.
Yeah, before we keep talking about this, I strongly suggest that everybody picks up December's and January's White Dwarf to get all this cool stuff. You got a Dice Master card. You got something else. You got something for Blackstone Fortress. You got the cards for the Crimson Fist right here. Has stuff, so you don't have to keep looking at your book.
Yeah.
So they were both really good issues.
I didn't get this December's, but January's was good from what I've read. But one last thing that I want to say, and this is a lore thing, so maybe this will be a topic towards the end. Lore, your Iron Hands are douchebags. Your fucking Primarch was a piece of shit. Ferrus Manus. And okay, I am very limited in terms of what I read for Ferrus Manus, but from all accounts, he just sounds like a prick alcoholic dad. That's all he is.
The only thing I've read of him so far has been where him and Fulgrim were having their thing.
Yes.
But he didn't seem like a bad guy, like he
read the
he
Primarch.
Loved his brother.
No, read Primarchs. It's a little more than love. I think he's gay for Fulgrim. Like he loves Vulcan. Like him and Vulcan disagree, but he loves Vulcan, right? He's gay for Fulgrim. Like uber gay. Like he keeps thinking about him like I've been in the process because of course I'm not the best reader. I am terrible at reading. As you can evidently me going through some of the stuff in White Dwarf. I'm very much an audio kind of listener, and I've been having Audible for a long time. I also have going through the Horus Heresy books. I'm on Primarchs right now, which is a collection of stories for all of them. The first one is, I don't even remember the first one. It was good. The first one was really good. It was Emperor's Children. It explains something very big about Fulgrim after the heresy and after the whole demon thing. It is very, very... It takes up the majority of that book. It is very, very good. Of course it does. It's Graham McNeil fucking writing. He's gonna fucking... He takes up... It says it's 33 chapters or 32 chapters. He takes up like 16 of them. Just by himself. So it's a Graham McNeil. But when it comes to the second story is Ferris. And it talks about Ferris. Jesus Christ, this guy's a prick. Like, he's just like, flesh is weak, fucking metal up, baby. And then he's just like, I don't give a fuck about my sons dying. They know what they signed up for. I can't fucking, no use crying over spilled milk. Where, like, it's just like, everybody else, good or bad, they lose somebody and they're like, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's somebody close to them. He almost loses, like, his right-hand man. And he's just like, fucking get up, bitch. He's such a prick. Like, I'm glad he's dead. TBH. He is a terrible Primarch. If you have something that'll point me in a direction where it brings him into a better light, go ahead and give that to me. But by the end of that little short story, he kind of is just like, I guess not all flesh is weak. That's such a stupid line. I did not like that. And then, like, the lion, there's another one that I'm reading right now, or going through right now, which is the lion. And I can see why everybody says he's, like, he is a traitor. He's not traitor. Even through this book, or through this little short story, I still don't see him as a traitor. And it's not like I have these fucking rose-colored glasses where I'm like, nah, he's my Primarch, doesn't matter. He's done bad shit. They've all done bad shit. But he's not traitor.
Yeah, Magnus did nothing wrong.
No, he did plenty of things wrong. Trust me. Read Thousand Sons and tell me he didn't do fucking nothing wrong. Fucking retard. Making deals with Zinch and just being like, yeah, I'm fucking smarter than you. And then Zinch is like, nope. Our deal's done. No! Fucking, he's a retard. Anyways, Ferris is a dick. That's all I have to say on the matter.
Funny enough, because, which, you know, we'll save it for the next episode when we get a little more into it, but we are going to be starting Centurion for 30k.
Yes.
But the Legion that I chose, because I wanted to play something that I don't play in 40k, and I narrowed it all the way down to Iron Warriors, and I'm very happy with that decision. Very, very happy. Very, very happy with that decision.
I'm not, but go ahead.
Perturabo actually has Ironbreaker. Horus gave it to him after fucking Ferris lost his head.
Uh-huh.
So I still have a little piece of him with me.
I don't think he necessarily gave it to him. I think he just picked it up.
No, it says Horus gave it to him.
Does it?
Yeah, it says Horus gave it to him.
And I thought that he blew it up. If you read Fulgrim, there is a part, and I don't know if it's in the main battle at Istvan. I think it is Istvan 5. He grabs the hammer because the hammer wasn't made by him; it was made by Fulgrim, and it's kind of just like the breaking of their friendship as well as everything between them, where he like fucking starts super melting the end of the hammer and fucking blows up, and that's one of the things that causes Fulgrim to be just like fucking whips out the sword and just flip.
I gotta read that again.
But again, I could be wrong. I'm dumb. So.
But yeah, it's funny because when Ferris Manus has the hammer, he swings it at initiative. Perturabo, with Perturabo, it's unwieldy. With anybody else, pretty much it's unwieldy. Because Ferris was the only one strong enough to fucking swing it at initiative 5.
Yeah. But yeah, talking to So Adam, he texted me. He's like, "Hey, any thoughts on
Adam's our resident 30K guy.
Yeah, he if I have any questions, he's the guy I'm gonna go to, unless somebody else proves more 30K literate. But when it comes to that, he was kind of like, "Well, have you decided?" And I was already kind of set on Luna Wolves or Sons of Horus, painted as Luna Wolves. So I was already kind of set on that, but reading more about Lorgar and kind of just the way I think it was because of what was the book? No Fear, which was the book before this. No Fear, if you haven't read it, is like the equivalent of like the scope that it brings you of Horus Rising. Like Horus Rising, is the first book. It of course sets up the whole world, and it's on this fucking huge scale where he's talking about, Horus is talking about all the worlds that he's conquered, worlds on worlds, and we have these and he's explaining the world, but making it sound like so fucking epic. No Fear is just like on a planet, and it's Dan Abnett again. So he just fucking makes this story that is, I could not stop listening to that book. I ran through that book in 2 days. It's like 20 hours, 21 hours or so. 2 days I just went through the whole thing. So it was just kind of those one redefining things, and it's kind of one of those things that sets Lorgar as like not the chump that you think of him in 40K, because you think of Lorgar and it's just like, oh, he's been fucking meditating for a millennia. So it's one of those things that gives him more like, oh, he's actually like a force to be reckoned with. He might be a little bland in terms of like his motivation. Like, fucking daddy didn't like me worshiping him, so I'm gonna go worship this other guy.
Worship this cock.
Yeah, I'm gonna go worship Slanesh. Oh my god, so many tentacles. But that's the thing is, it gives him just a little more like, oh, he's not just somebody to, you can't just fucking slap this hoe. Like he's a force to be reckoned with. So it kind of, I was kind of like teetering, and then because of you had a Lorgar piece, an actual Primarch piece, and I was thinking, well, I'll just give you some money and I'll just buy it off of you. But I was just like, let's hold off on that. And I think I'm just going Sons of Horus. I'm just going to paint up my dudes in white. How I'm going to play them? Probably what next episode is going to be about. Kind of,
yeah,
from an outsider's perspective of 30K, like how to possibly get into it and what you want to start off with. But is there anything else you want to add before we head on out?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to episode 26 of Perils of the Warp. I've been Roman, and
I've been John.
All right. And I think we got to come up with a better one than see you in the warp.
Well, we're not doing it now.
All right. We'll see you in the warp.
See you in the warp.
Boy.